Hey guys, it's Lacey. This is Lacey Boggs with the Content Direction Agency, and this is your weekly content debrief 15 minutes of actionable information you can use to improve your business. And we're going live about 15 minutes earlier than usual this week because I got a sales call happening at noon. And sorry, guys, but those take precedence over you guys. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, this week I want to talk a little bit about something that's been on my mind lately. As you might know, last week we did a content marketing co-working day inside of our Facebook group, and it was awesome. I had I think there were about 6 people all together that joined me, and 5 of them spent most of the day with me, which was amazing. We got some really great work done. We got sales pages written. We got new systems designed for doing content marketing. I got an entire webinar outlined and made all the slides, which was, believe me, I needed some accountability to get that done. That was not a task I was looking forward to. But while I was outlining this webinar, this phrase kept coming up for me, and I'm don't know if I'm coining this term, but it's the first time I've heard it. And what the phrase is leadership marketing. And what I mean by that is that I just am really curious about how many of us in the business world would like to be a leader in their marketing or a follower. And follower automatically sounds kind of icky. Nobody really wants to be a follower, right? But all I mean by that is, do you like to be a leader and blaze your own path? Or do you like to be a follower and follow a proven path? And what's fascinating to me is when I asked this in a group I belong to with that caveat, like that definition, 70% of the people who responded said they wanted to be a follower, which I get to some extent because it seems like the safe bet, right? If we're going, here's the thing. Let's back up half a step. You didn't get into your business to be a marketer. Unless you're in a business like me and you are a marketer, you didn't start your business to be a marketer. Now, most of you who are watching this probably still do most of your own marketing because that's what we do as business owners. We wear all the hats until we can afford to outsource, right? But you didn't get into your business to be an accountant. You didn't get into your business to be a web designer. You didn't get into your business to be a marketer unless you did, right? So it makes sense that you would want to kind of follow the leader in that sense. You would want to follow a marketer, maybe somebody like me, maybe somebody like Jeff Walker or Amy Porterfield or any of those people that do, sort of big, splashy, here's my formula, here's my blueprint, steal my idea to market your business. That makes sense to me. That absolutely makes sense that a vast majority of people would want to be a follower because they want to do what's been proven, right? They want to do what's been tested and put together by the experts because God knows I'm not telling you got to be a marketing expert, right? That's not your business. That's okay. But what I'm curious about is what do we do? How do you manage when the thing you're following or the person you're following stops working, right? So here's a quick poll. If you're watching this, I would love to know, do you consider yourself a leader or a follower in your marketing? And again, what I mean by that is, as a leader in marketing, do you like to blaze your own trail, innovate, do something different? Or as a follower, would you prefer to follow a strict blueprint, a strict formula that somebody else came up with? I'm really curious. I'm really curious to see where people fall. I was actually surprised that so many people said in that poll that I conducted that they wanted to be a follower. And what was really interesting to me was that several people said they were a follower, but they wanted to be a leader. And I thought, because that's where the money is. That's where the juicy gold is. Because what that says to me is that they are following, but they're not seeing the results that they wish they could following somebody else's plan, somebody else's blueprint. And my theory behind that is that those blueprints, they work, right? Like, I'm not throwing shade at anybody who sells a formula like that for marketing. The problem is they don't work all the time. They don't work for every business. They don't work for every audience. They don't work in every situation. And it's tough if you are going to be a follower in marketing to determine whether or not this particular thing is going to work for your business or your audience, right? You have to be very discerning. And if you're not actually interested in being a marketing guru, because that's not what you started your business to do, it can be doubly hard, right? So I think there needs to be, the other thing that has been like swirling around in my head, which I wrote about this week on the blog, I'll pop a link in the comments, is that in some places, these templates, these blueprints, these things we've been following are starting to lose efficacy. They're not working as well as they used to work, right? So part of the problem is that they've reached this sort of peak of people using these techniques. And we can see from history that when we get to, like, history of marketing, nerdy history, that when we get to a certain point where it peaks, that a certain number of people or businesses or whatever are using a certain technique, it peaks and people get annoyed with it and they see through it and they become more savvy and it's not as engaging anymore. Or something disrupts the market, right? Something disrupts the market and makes it different. I think a good example of this is like webinars. Right now, webinars are kind of like teetering on the edge. Some people are still having really good results with webinars and other people aren't. Other people are seeing a serious decline in how many people are signing up for their webinars, how many people show up, and how many people buy. And I think part of the thing that happened is that live video disrupted the webinar industry. Live video like this, right? Because webinars are live, in theory. Some of them are evergreen, some of them are recorded. But live, being able to go live on Facebook, being able to go live on Instagram, YouTube, wherever, disrupted that. And so when there's a disruption, we have to innovate to stay relevant, right? So I guess my point in all this is that I think more of us need to step into a leadership role in marketing. And I'm not asking you to be a guru and tell anybody else how to do it. I'm asking you to be a little more discerning, a little more careful, a little more thoughtful about which pieces of the formulas are right for you. Because here's the deal, right? All these formulas is a certain way of fitting together puzzle pieces, right? The puzzle pieces might include like your channels, like, so how are you distributing your message? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email, blogs, video, whatever. So you have your channel, and then maybe you have your message, and then maybe you have the tactics to get people to show up, right? And all these formulas are doing that people follow is slotting these puzzle pieces together in a certain way. And so for me, leadership marketing, all that is being a little bit more discerning and saying this puzzle piece doesn't fit my audience. This particular piece of this formula doesn't fit with my messaging, doesn't fit with my brand voice. Or my data has showed me in the past that this particular channel, this particular tactic doesn't work well for me. People in my audience don't respond well to it. So you're being a little more discerning. You're taking the pieces that work for you and amplifying them, or changing them, or switching them up, or fitting them together in a slightly different way. But in that way, you're not following the crowd. You're not following the blueprint blindly, right? You're actually being a leader and blazing your own path. And I think what's interesting me most about this right now is that I think this is how we are going to overcome the problem of feeling like we're shouting into a crowded room, right? Because this is something I hear very often, is that people are creating great content, they're sharing great content, but they just feel like it's not being heard, it's not being read, it's not being seen. It feels like you're shouting into a crowded room and nobody's listening. when you step back and take more of a leadership model and create your own framework, your own blueprint, your own puzzle pieces for your marketing message or your marketing strategy, suddenly that's like somebody handing you a microphone. That's like somebody standing you in the spotlight. All of a sudden, you have a lot more attention. You're drawing a lot more interest. I've been working with Liz Detterer from Selling with Service a little bit, and she came up with this great metaphor. She was saying it's like everybody has a whistle, and we're all blowing this whistle, and it's just really loud and annoying. You don't need another whistle. You need a dog whistle that only certain people can hear. Because you don't need everybody to hear your message. You only need your people. We're pretending your people are dogs in the best way possible, okay? But if you change the marketing strategy, the message, it's still a whistle. You're still blowing it. You're still making noise. But you've changed it just slightly so that only your people can hear it. Only your people are attracted to it. Only your people are interested in it. Well, suddenly it's a lot more effective at getting attention, isn't it? Right? Rather than just contributing to the overall noise, if you're getting a lot more specific and a lot more targeted and a lot more just building your marketing strategy based on what your people need to hear as opposed to just like whatever everybody else is doing, it becomes a lot more effective. I share this story in the blog post this week, which you can check out at that link. But I was helping a client with a launch over the last couple of months. And when we got to brainstorming what the launch would look like, she wanted to do video content that led to a webinar, which is where she would sell. But we knew that her ideal customer has no time. That's part of the reason what she sells helps them, because they have no time. So like the standard 3 video launch formula, where the videos are like 20 or 30 minutes long and they're dripped out over the course of a week or whatever, that wasn't going to fly for her people, right? They're not going to sit down and make 30 minutes to watch 3 different videos. That's an hour and a half of their time. And then watch a webinar? No, not going to happen, right? We knew that. So we brainstormed, and what we came up with is let's do a series. We ended up doing 5 videos, but they were all 5 minutes or less each. And what she did was she did drip them out one at a time, but she also made them all available at once so that people could binge watch. If they did have 25 minutes to spare, they could sit and watch the whole thing instead of, risking losing them over the course of the week. And that led to a webinar. And so far, the launch numbers are not in yet. It's just closed. But when she did her first webinar last week to a very, very warm VIP audience, like people who had opted in early to get the information. So they were very warm and very interested. Nevertheless, her webinar converted at 26.5%. Shoot, people. Shoot! Average is 5%. Did you know that? Industry average is 5% conversion rate on a webinar. 26.5%. Blew our minds. What that tells us is that her leadership marketing strategy was working because we fit the pieces together in a slightly different way that was keyed to her people, her message, her audience, and her product. So I guess I'm just noodling around this idea of leadership marketing and what does that mean and what does that look like? And so I'm just curious, like when you hear that term, leadership marketing, what does it mean to you? Do you want to be a leader or a follower? Did it change as you heard me explain it? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments, especially if you got all the way through the video. And please give me a thumbs up, a like, or a wave or whatever if you're watching this so that we know you're hanging out. But yeah, this is what I'm thinking about. Anyway, this has been your content debrief. I will be back next week, same time, probably regular time, noon Mountain Time, which is 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. This is where I show up. If you have questions, please let me know, and I will answer them in a future live video. Until then, it's been cool to talk to y'all. Tell me what you think about leadership marketing. I'll see you soon.